Hi everyone, welcome back and welcome you back too. Yay! It's been a while, hasn't it? And things will come out as we go along. I don't really want to go into lots and lots of details about stuff. I'm sorry to say I've had a few health issues and stuff like that. Nothing terminal, thank goodness. So I will explain it sometime, but I'm still in the process where I'm going through it, and I am just trying to be incredibly brave and do something every day towards building on what I've been doing in YouTube land and stuff like that. So without further ado, hello. And first of all, thank you. How amazing. 10,000 subscribers. We did it. So that was an amazing goal, an amazing achievement, and thank you for everyone who has watched videos, kept watching, checked back in, made comments, nice comments, followed me on Instagram, watched the different videos that I've recommended on the community tab. All of those things help me keep going with this channel and actually provide me with some working income while I'm designing and making things. I also have a special announcement to make at the end of this video, which is really nice that it sort of coincides with my kind of thanks for the 10,000 subscribers thing. So, and this is also going to be like a normal video too. So while I've been having to work in a different way, I have some sort of mobility limitations at the moment. I have learned a new skill. Woo! So I have two best friends and they live on opposite sides of the Atlantic. But there we go. So one of them, the one that lives over here, you know who you are, taught me how to crochet this summer. I've always wanted to learn how to crochet, and I did learn ages ago when I lived in the States, but I didn't know that there's different terminology. So when I came back to the UK like 20 years ago, and I thought, oh yeah, I can crochet. No, got completely confused and thought, all right, that's that. Was busy doing other things. Anyway, as it turns out, what I was doing wrong with crochet was worrying about how to wind the yarn around my fingers, because I have very short little fingers, so all the yarn comes falling off. Also terminology, things like that. Don't worry about terminology, really not important. And then the thing I was doing was, the way I would approach most things was to do like test squares of things, which was really boring. My best friend Andrew very sensibly thought of a project that I would be able to make, and so it was supposed to be a scarf pattern, and I literally had this cryptic message that said, oh, you need chunky yarn, this size hook, whatever, and I'll show you next time I see you. And I didn't read that it said a scarf in it. I don't remember seeing that. When I checked the message back, it does say scarf. But I'm not very good at using wool, or so I thought. So I had ordered some chunky cotton. My goodness, chunky cotton's hard work. It's like this thing became like armour. It's got no drape to it. And I somehow managed to order twice the amount of yarn that I needed. And then I thought, I know, why don't I just make it into a blanket? So I've made this blanket, and it's sitting on my son's bed, who's currently at university, which is just as well, because he would never have got out of the bed because this thing's so heavy. So that was my first project, but I was sold. I really liked it. Since then, so I've made the blanket armour scarf, I've made a little tiny scarf for a teddy bear, and I've made a pumpkin. This is my pumpkin. Isn't it brilliant? Then I decided that I really wanted to do something a bit more complicated. So I've got my basket of stuff here. So I started making these squares. So these are like granny squares with a flower. Well, anyway, she demonstrated them with a three-dimensional flower. So you can see that sticking up there. But she did hers all in one colour. So this is my test square. So the colours are this sort of sagey green with the purple, and then this sort of, I don't know what colour do you call that, this colour with this pink as well. And so I've designed this whole blanket, like you do, out of cotton, and those are the 4 colours, and variation of these squares with just the flower with no coloured in background. So the flowers will all be in the middle, and then these will be like the border and across the bottom, you know, like a one row all the way around the outside. And these are quite a lot, they don't move around as much, so I thought it would provide an anchoring. It's going to take me several months on making that. It's a big blanket. My bed is a European king size, so that is 5'4" across, I think, instead of 5 foot, and it's either 6'6" or 7 foot long. I don't know, I should probably measure it before I finish up making this blanket, but it's going to be a long project, so I decided I needed to do some worky work. As you know, I'm really into reusing things and repurposing things. I think we should all tread lightly on the planet that we live on, and so I'm always looking for new ways to innovate creativity and how to it's not just upcycling or repurposing or anything like that, but like how to use materials and things in an effective way that makes something that's going to last a long time. So I was thinking about like crochet and everything, and making blankets and stuff like that, and I love doing all that kind of thing. And I was also thinking about, there's a few designs that I want to do that require a lot of colours, and anyone that's ever done any knitting or crochet knows how expensive it is to buy just one colour of one ball of yarn. And I thought how amazing it would be if you could just use small amounts and use loads and loads and loads of colours to do something, and how cool that would be. I tried looking for some ends of bits and pieces on eBay. I tried looking in charity shops, but the problem with all of those things is that it would take quite a lot of time and sort of dedication to find the same weight. Because just like with knitting, crochet, if you're trying to make a blanket or something, it kind of matters that it's the same thickness of yarn all the way through. So then I remembered, some of you will know, a couple of years ago, I had a shop for about 4 years, and we sold all sorts of pre-loved craft stuff and haberdashery, vintage haberdashery, all sorts of bits and pieces. And one of the things I have left from it is almost the entire range of Anchor tapestry wool. Tapestry is really not fashionable at the moment, and as a means for using wool for crochet or knitting, it would probably be quite expensive, but I happen to have quite a lot of it. So I thought, can you crochet with tapestry yarn? Yes, you can. It turns out you can. So, and I have made all of these. So I want to show you how you can make this hexagon, which I developed myself. This is my design. So I did all of the working out how to turn a square into a hexagon and where to change the colours and all the rest of it. So I did this. I don't know if it's anywhere else on YouTube. I haven't looked, but I worked this out for myself. So you can make 2 of these out of 3 skeins of tapestry yarn, and I'm going to show you how. So here we are. These are some of them. If I just lay them out, and you can see how many colours I have used. And I started off using sort of dual colours and experimenting with different things. This is one of my early ones, just in 2 colours, and then I worked out that you could do this with 3 skeins of tapestry wool, and that seemed like a really good method of calculating how many you would need to make a blanket. They have loads and loads of different variations. You don't have to do it like this, but it's a really good way of working out if you've got enough. So I've worked out for a small throw blanket, this one, you need 104 hexagons, which means for 3 skeins that make 2, that would be 156 skeins. So that's how many I've used here, and then I've got about another 8 to join it together, which I'll show you how to do later on. What you need for this is, you to start with will only need 3 skeins of tapestry wool. So you can choose, like, if you want to do bright. I'm feeling a little bit neutral, I think, today. So you need 3 skeins. If you've never done any crochet before, I suggest you just get a ball of, you know, something like Aran weight would be okay. I think that is it worsted weight? I'm not sure. You'd have to look up a conversion chart. I'm really not up on weights of yarn at all, but I think this is somewhere between double knitting and Aran weight in the UK. I would practice with just a ball of all one colour, because yours is going to come up bigger to start with. It always does until you kind of get the gist of it. And I'm using a 4.5. So it's actually 0.5 smaller than what they recommend for the weight of Aran, but you get I think you get a nicer result anyway. So, and I'm using an ergonomic silicone handle because it's easier for me to do, and I've got a warming glove on to help with my arthritic thumb. You need your yarn, your hook, and then you are going to need a large tapestry needle. You will need that at the end, and obviously a pair of scissors, and that's literally it. Crochet is such a lovely, open to all practically. You need so little equipment for it. So I'm going to start off with a few different techniques. Where stitches are mentioned, I will be using the American terminology, and if you are in the UK and you want to know what that is, just look it up. I've tried to do it so that I could say both, but I get confused anyway, so it's just easier if we just stick to one type of stitch name. What we're going to do is we're going to open up our yarn first of all. We're going to start off with something called a magic ring. Now this is more difficult than it looks. It becomes second nature to do this. It really isn't difficult to do. It just takes a little bit of practice. So what you're going to do first of all is you're going to put the yarn like that over those 2 fingers, and you're going to take the other end that's attached to the rest of it, and you're going to wrap it around your fingers until it goes over the top like that, okay? And then you're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to put it underneath the first one and hook it over the second one. You're going to bring it back round and twist it just once so you can bring your crochet hook back to the right size. And then you're going to pinch that, take your fingers out, and then I use, these gloves are great actually because they've got a rubber on the inside. It actually helps with my tension quite a lot. So this is how I do my yarn, literally like that, and then I'm going to swap and pinch that to the other side. Okay, so I'm holding my hook like that, and then you're going to chain 4 into here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and it looks really loose. Don't worry about that. And then I'm going to let go, and that will naturally turn over with the 2 bits of yarn there. And then now I'm going to do a triple stitch, okay, triple crochet. So I'm going to wrap the yarn round my hook twice. So 1, 2, and then I'm going to put it under both of these 2 bits, capture the yarn there and pull that over. Don't worry about it all being a tangly mess. Just try not to let go of it and try not to worry about it. Then I'm going to yarn through 1, 2, and then pick up the yarn again through another 2, and then pick up the yarn again through the last 2. So I went through 3 times, and that's what it will look like. So then you can slide this along and it will start to neaten up. And honestly don't worry about it. Every single one of those hexagons that I showed you started off like this. So now we need to put a space between this. So I'm going to put 1, 2 chain on there, and it just looks like a right mess at the moment. Don't worry. Now we're going to do another triple crochet. So I'm going to wrap it around once, twice, through those 2 bits, pull the yarn back through. Now we're going to pull the yarn through 2, pick up the yarn again, through 2, pick it up again, through 2. And so that's made another little leg with a space in it. So all of the legs come in pairs. So we're going to do another triple crochet. So once, twice around the hook, through the ring, pick up the yarn, then pick up the yarn again, through 2, pick up the yarn again, through 2, pick up the yarn again, through 2. And so now we've got 2 legs, and what we've done, so there's 6 kind of spokes at the centre of the flower, and each one of these spokes is made up of 2 legs, and one of them has got 4 chain and triple crochet to make the leg, and I'm trying to find out which one that is because I can't tell. That one. It's that one there. So that's what we're doing, is we're doing these 6 legs first of all, and they're made up of pairs. Now we need to leave a space, so that's what the chain 2 is. So 1, 2, so yarn over twice, through there, back through, so we're doing a triple crochet, and do it again, okay. And I can't attempt to do it so, you know, slowly all the way through, because I'll be filming for about 4 hours, but you can start and stop this as you need to. So there I've done another pair. Okay, so now I need to do the space, 1, 2, so I'll just do another quick reminder and then we'll time lapse this. Okay, so we're going to do in a pair of triple crochets, so wrap the yarn round once, once, twice, through the magic ring, pick up the yarn, pull it through, pick up the yarn, pull it through 2, pick up the yarn, pull it through 2, pick up the yarn and pull it through 2. And slide that along. Then we're going to make the second one, so once, twice, through the ring, pick up the yarn, and pick up the yarn again, through 2, through 2, through 2. So we have another leg, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs now. So I'll just do this last bit. So keep putting your spacer chains in, so 2, and then we'll do this last bit. So now we're at the end of this part here, and we are going to pull that so that slides nice and tight, and leave that end alone, and that's how you make a lovely, it's got a lovely tight middle to it. So then what you need to do is take this end here, put your hook underneath. It's like quite a big chain, so you need to count 1, 2, 3, and it's sort of going that way, and put your hook under there into that stitch, and then that is the end of that colour for us. If this is your practice one, just carry on, don't ignore this bit. If you're going to change colours, put that on one side, and we're going to change to the next colour. So I've also worked out a way of adding in the colours so that you don't have loads of ends to stitch in at the end. So we're going to make a little loop here, so like so, and we're going to put that on the hook, and that's going to be through there, and that's going to be where the colour starts from. It'll all be a little bit loose and baggy. Now the short bit that you've just cut off and this bit, we tie them together in a knot. Okay, hopefully you can see that. So they're tied in a knot there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put those together, and the pair of ends together, and we're going to pull those out the way. We're going to ignore the magic ring end of yarn, which will be longer. Get your new yarn ready. And then we're going to put the 2 little pieces, ends of yarn, sort of across the top of the stitches. So the first thing we need to do is to go back through here. There's like a little space in between the top of each of the legs. We're going to go back through there, pick up the yarn, and we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to bring that through, so we've got 2 little loops on there, and the ends are in between the working yarn and the loops on the hook. So we're going to bring that yarn through there, 2 together, oops, like that. So we're just going to do 1 single crochet. So now we need to move the yarn over to where we're going next. So where we're going next is we're working anti-clockwise around this circle. There's a big space in the legs here. We're going to put the hook in there, and we've got literally 1 loop on here. Put the hook in, and we're going to bring that back through, and we're going to slip stitch this. So we're not picking up any more yarn. So we'll do that. So now that stitch is right on the corner of this opening here, and we're going to make a petal. So if I show you this one, we're going to make one of these petals, okay? And these are made with double crochet. So we put the yarn round once, we're going to put it through the hole, pick up the yarn, bring it back through, and now we've got 3 loops on the hook. So we're going to pick up the yarn again, we're going to go through 2. First one's always a bit difficult, it's like sitting underneath a bit. Then pick up the yarn again and go through 2. Okay, there we go. And remember, because we're working around this chain, you can slide the stitches along when you've done them. So we need to do 5 petals altogether. So that's the first one. So go through, bring it through, pick it up, and do that. So 3. Now 4. And 5. So that's 5 double crochet, and all the time these ends of yarn, we're working them into this chain, so they're just sitting across the top there. Now to make it a petal shape with that loop, you just put the hook in, pick up the yarn once and slip stitch it, exactly the same as how you started the petal. Now we need to go into this little space again between the 2 legs of our spoke, put your hook through and do a single crochet. So that means we bring it through and then pick up the yarn and go through those 2 loops. And then we need to move along to the next space and slip stitch into there, and then we can start doing a petal. So I'll talk through this petal and then I'm just going to crochet the other ones in, okay? I'm going to finish off these ends first. I'll do it on a petal in a minute. To finish off the end, one of them's disappeared in there anyway, so that's good. Just pull this one a little bit and then snip it off close, and it'll, when you start moving this stitch around, it'll just move inside, you won't see it. Right, so the petal, so we're starting off from the slip stitch. So we're doing a double crochet, so that's once around the hook, through the space, pick up the yarn, bring it back through, pick up the yarn, through 2, pick up the yarn again, through 2. And then there's a funny little thing so you can slide that along. So over the hook, through the space, pick up the yarn again, through 2, pick up the yarn again, through 2. And we need to do that 5 times for each petal. So let's do it again. So that should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then slip stitch to finish off the petal. So you can see what that does is it leaves a nice little sort of petal shape. So that's what we've got there. I've done the last petal on here and did the slip stitch to end the petal there. Because we started off with doing the single crochet through the first set instead of moving on to a slip stitch, it means that you end up with 2 stitches in the middle here. And it's just because I've tried it both ways and I actually think the end result, this looks better, but it just means that you have to put your hook under the first stitch here, so not the second one. Okay, it just looks a little bit weird, that's all. So you're going to put that under there and we're going to do a single crochet, so we need to bring the yarn through and then bring the yarn through those 2. So there's our single crochet, and then that leaves you with a loop in the middle of the petals. Okay, so now we're going to build up the support for these blocks of stitches. So what you can't tell is these are actually, if I pull it apart a bit, they're actually sitting on a chain. There's a chain all the way around there, so that's what supports this and holds that in place. So first one we're going to do is it's going to be 6 chain long, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and that's because it is taking the place of the double crochet that is going to go in between all of these ones. So we need to bring the yarn to where we want to work it in. The first one we go under here, bring the yarn through, and then yeah, that's a single crochet. Okay, and then we do 1, 2, 3. So we're going to move, making this bar across here, and now we're going to do a double crochet. So once around the hook, then we're going to go under this stitch here, so it's 2 loops there, bring the yarn through, then under 2, and then through 2 again, sorry, through 2 and through 2. So we've done a double crochet, so it's acting like a little leg. So now we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, find the middle of this petal, under there, bring that through, single crochet that together. Now we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do a double crochet, so over the hook, under the stitches, back through, 1, 2. So what we've got here is we've got support bars going all the way across. So these double crochets are bringing the work out to the same height as the top of the petals, and so this is what the support framework is for the rest of the hexagon. So you just keep going like that. Right, when you get to the last one, so this is the big loop of chain that we did to start with, half of this is occupying the space of the double crochet, and the other side half is occupying the 3 chain that goes around the rest of it as well. So we need to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, just like you would at the end of, you know, each one of these. And then you need to find the 3rd stitch, so 1, 2, 3, that one. And then I found it works best if you go under, so if you go through the middle, so you take one of the loops, like the chain part, and then the back thread as well, and leave that one. I found that gets the firmest result. And then we're just going to put our hook like that for now, and we're going to cut this off. Again, if you are practicing, just keep going for now, worry about this later. Again, make a loop just like you did before, bring that through, just there, put that green loop, put it all down flat, tie together these 2 ends, and nice and firmly, not too tight, but definitely firmly. Right, to start with, on this bit, there's nothing you can do with the ends, but you will do, they are going to disappear. But first of all, we need to go up, we need to get the height of these stitches. So we're here, and we need to be up here, okay? We need to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, okay? And then we can get the ends ready, and we're going to put them along these support bars here. Now we're going to do 4 double crochets, so 1 over there, okay? and then we're going to do another one. So over there, through the loop, back up there, bring the yarn through 2, bring the yarn through 2, right. So I'm going to actually talk you through it this time, just so, instead of saying that. So we're doing a double crochet, so put the yarn over once, through the space, pick up the yarn, bring it back through. So now we've got 3 loops, pick up the yarn again, take it through the first 2, pick it up again, take it through the second 2. And we need one more on here, so we're going to put the yarn over, through the space, pick up the yarn, pick up the yarn again, through 2, pick up the yarn again, through 2. So we've got 4 here. Now we could have included that as one of our stitches. When I first started doing this little hexagon block, whatever you call it, that's how I did it, and I thought it looked really, really messy. So what I've done instead is done that, and then I just ignore it afterwards and try and make sure that I count the right number of stitches at the end. and I literally just ignore it because it's so baggy, and it makes it look really misshapen. And if you want hexagons that actually look like hexagons, that's how I did it. I've ignored those middle chains. That's the first bit. Now we're going to do a corner. So to get it to turn a corner, we need to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go back in. We're going to skip over this point of the flower with the little single crochet on it, and we're going to put the hook through. Oh, it's a double crochet, by the way. Put the hook through the space and double crochet. See, and we've moved on to the next part already, and then we keep going like that. So we're going to do 4 of these in that space. So this is number 2. Okay, so we have made a corner. We've made one of these. So now we just carry on all the way around until we get back to that part, and it's literally sets of 4 crochets. So now I shall just step onto the next one. So that's where we're on one side. Pick up the yarn round once, go through there, and so that will make the straight side. So it's a set of 4, 3 chain for a corner, a set of 4, a set of 4, 3 chain for a corner, and so on and so forth till you get back to where you started. Okay, so we're on got the last stitch there for the double crochets that go all the way around here, and we're going to put that, remember we're ignoring this set of chains here, so we're going to put that under this stitch here. So that's the first double crochet going round, and this is where we're going to change the colour again. So we're going to change it to this oatmeal colour which I started with. We're going to tie that in exactly the same as we've done all those other times. So we're going to make a loop, and we're going to bring this through here to change the colour, and then tie this on the back, and we're going to yarn over, and we're just going to slip stitch that and make a little chain on there. So now this is where that row of 3 chain was that we're trying to ignore. So we need to skip over the 3 chains there, then there's a chain that joins that to the first crochet, which is where this yarn joins. So we want to skip over that and go into the next one. Okay, and then we're going to do a single crochet and keep the ends along the top. Now you just go all the way around the end. It's only the first one because we want to skip that. And if you end up crocheting into them, you're going to end up with too many stitches on one side. Now, it's not the end of the world. You could then crochet things together. It's just a little bit easier if you get the number of stitches right on each side. you will be able to stitch it all together properly. So now what we're going to do is we need to do 3 on this corner. So we've got 1, so we're just doing a normal single crochet. So that's back through, bring the yarn through the 2 loops. So we've got 3 crochets on there, and that's going to make our little corner. So like these ones here, okay, see those corners there. You just keep going all the way around. So go into the next one here and do a single crochet. Right, so these are the last few stitches here. This is the very last one we're going to do with the hook. So I'm going to pull out a tail and cut that off. Now normally people start off by they'll pull it, they'll do a slip stitch through and then just pull it and they end up with an extra loop. Now my first one started off that way as well. What you need to do instead is get your tapestry needle, a big needle, pop that on the end, and then what we're going to do is we are going to close up this gap. Now that there is the chain, so we want to skip that all together. So we're going to make another stitch with this. So we want to skip that. We're going to make an extra stitch. We're going to make this stitch again. We're skipping this one all together. We want that to just disappear. So you put your needle under these two here, and pull it all the way through. You don't have to pull it too tight. And then you're going to stitch through that loop there. So it looks like a really big loose stitch at the moment. Just pull it a little bit and then just help it. So you're sort of pulling these, you're going to make that stick out the back, and then on the front it looks great. So now we're going to just weave in on the back of the stitches like that, and then skip over a loop so it holds it steady, and weave back under here and weave in the back of these ones as well. And then that's our spare chain just there. Okay, then snip off your end there. So now for this end where your magic knot is, we need to thread up a needle again. We're just going to weave this in. Now I have seen people pull these tight and then cut them off. I don't recommend it, because I've also seen people say, oh, my magic ring isn't so magic, you know, it's come undone. And it's like, well yeah, because you've not tied it off to anything. And then like all the centre of their work's come undone. That must be heartbreaking. So I suggest you just weave round the centre after you've pulled it nice and tight, and then go up one of these spokey bits. And you've only got to sort of gently weave it in the back, and then just to make absolutely sure, what I do is I thread it up 2 petals as well. That is not coming undone. So that is my last one. But if you were doing it out of this tapestry skeins, this is where you have to pay attention to what you've used where. So this green, we did the most amount of crocheting. This bit round here with all these double crochets actually takes up quite a lot. So I would suggest now on the next one that this becomes the middle and then this single crochet around the outside. This sometimes, depending on how thick it is, sometimes you can get 2 lots of petals and the chain, but also sometimes you can't. I would just say just be a bit careful, maybe measure what you've got left. That actually feels like there's enough to do these petals today, and that feels a bit light, and that feels like there's enough to do that. So I have started stitching them together. This is one row. This will be one continuous row in the middle in a minute. I've just got to put that end in. I brilliantly worked out how big I wanted this by laying it out on part of my sofa, and literally laid out all the hexagons that I had and said, oh yeah, that's nice, I need twice as many as that and it'll make quite a nice little small blanket. So each row is 13 long and there's 8 rows, so it'll make sort of well, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I just put one on the end here to show you like that, can't even see the other end. So that's how wide it will be, and that's not bad. It's nearly 80 centimetres. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 13 rows. That's what, I don't think you can see them actually, these piles are. I've stacked them all into piles of 13. I really tried to mix them up a lot. I don't know how successful I've been, but so I've got these piles here. I've got 6 piles of 13, and then I've got a few more ends to stitch in, but I was a bit bored, so I just wanted to have a quick talk about how to do it, because obviously I'm gonna have to do quite a lot of this before it looks like anything. So I've got these different sections. So this is what the back looks like. I've literally just put them right sides together and just done single crochet across all of them, and that's the back of it. And actually now I can see why it's the back of it. It is quite bulky, but on the front you can barely see it at all. So I don't think it's going to be that important what colour you use to stitch it together, unless you're doing like a whole collection of neutrals. In which case you would want to stick with neutrals, I think. Any other colour combination, I don't know, say you were doing blue and yellow, obviously use blue or yellow to stitch it together, or all greens, use a green, but it doesn't have to be the same one. You can barely tell. So the only other thing I'll say is where I had the stitch issue, where I didn't know how many stitches were at either end, what I did to combat that was I thought the best thing to do was to stitch these sides with the chain, the extra chain in them, if I stitch those together. So any issues on the stitches are always on, you know, like if you haven't got enough or if you've got too many, they're always on this side with the extra chain, like the starting point for all of them. So here, if I hold it this way, it's more obvious. This side has got more stitches than this side. So what I've done is I've you know, crocheted along, and then I've obviously got to here, and to match it up I've had to go back in to this loop twice and then crochet across. So that's what it will look like if you've not got the same number of stitches. It's really not that noticeable. It's actually very forgiving. It's really not an issue. Very happy about that. Onwards with crocheting my first blanket together. Yeah. Oh no, it's not my first blanket. It's my first one with like granny anything, like with hexagons and things. The other one was literally just crocheting a great big long strip together. It wasn't difficult. So this is the completed blanket, and I realised that 8 rows by 13. It's good for putting over your knees, which you can't see, and over your shoulders if you wanted to, but it would mostly only work in these dimensions along the bottom of a bed, you know. It would look really nice as a kind of bed runner. So I am suggesting, if you make one, to do it 10 rows by 11, and it would just come out a slightly better size, I think. So on the back you can see it's all crocheted together, and I literally just crocheted it into long rows first, and then I crocheted those together, and it's quite straightforward. All you have to remember to do is when you get to the points is to remember you're going to have to go into the same hole twice. That's literally it. So that's that. So now for the big announcement, because I have been trying to do this for ages, it's a little bit later than I meant, so I'm really sorry about that. I have a website. Yay! Me cheering or something, clapping in the background, thank you very much. On my website is a small collection of sort of vintage bits and pieces at the moment. I'll be adding to it, and what I'm hoping is there'll be a gallery where you can see past work, current work, connections to YouTube. If you went on the website and you wanted to look for something in particular, there should be a link straight from that item back to YouTube, so you don't have to scroll through like yards and yards and yards of it on YouTube itself. There'll also be a little shop with bits of equipment and hopefully my work in time, yay, but also some kits. Can you see where I'm going with this? So my first kit is for the blanket that I've just made. So I have put together a kit, and it has approximately 205 skeins of Anchor Tapestry yarn, and in the kit you'll get all of the yarn you need, the instructions, which I'm still working on, but they'll be ready. There'll be a little postcard and also the crochet hook, and there will be a tapestry needle as well. So everything you need except scissors basically to make your own blanket. And so that is my big announcement. My website can be found at eleanorburchellhughes.co.uk, I think, is that right? Yeah, so go and check it out, and it will be growing. It's kind of like a capsule website at the moment, but I will be adding kits and things to it along the way. So I've got some really exciting plans, which I will film and share with you. So thanks for watching, everyone. There's my box of things. I'll put that down. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being so patient with me. Maybe I'll explain one day, maybe I won't, I don't know. And have a happy new year, and hopefully 2025 will just be a little bit less chaotic for everybody. I really hope that. Anyway, bye. See you soon. Bye.